we are going to discuss the topic of economic load dispatch in this lecture, and we'll solve few previous gate model questions also. Okay. So, what is the main aim of economic load dispatch? The main aim of economic load dispatch problem is to minimize the total generating costs of electrical power generations at various stations while satisfying the loads and the transmission losses. That means we are trying to minimize the total cost of generation to meet a particular load demand. In this optimum load scheduling, actually it should be called as optimum load scheduling. So in this optimum load scheduling, we have two sub problems. One is the unit commitment problem, the other one is the economic load dispatch problem. Okay, so in this unit commitment problem, what is the main objective of the unit commitment problem is that we are trying to find out those generators that will run to meet a particular load. Suppose you are having a 10 generators. So suppose 2 generators are at generating station 1, 3 generators are at generating station 2, likewise, and the remaining generators are at generating station 3. Okay, so with 10 generators are healthy and available for operation. Out of that, you select some required number of generators to meet the load demand at a particular time instant. Understand? So the generators that will operate out of the healthy generators, out of the healthy available generators, are called committed generators. Okay. So the main objective of unit commitment problem is to minimize the fuel cost of thermal generating units and decide the commitment status of all units which are participating in the economic load dispatch program. Okay. Next is dispatch problem. What is the economic dispatch problem? The economic dispatch problem is that here, out of the committed generators, how we will distribute the load, how we will be distributing the load such that we are getting the minimum cost of generations. Load scheduling, we can also call this. Okay. So it mainly contains two subproblems. One is unit commitment, the other one is economic load dispatch. Here we are just finding out those generators that will run the commitment status, and here out of the committed generators, how we will distribute the load. That is the main problem. So steps involved in economic load dispatch problem is, first is load forecasting. You should know what is the total load that you want to meet. So estimating the total load including the transmission losses, let us say it is 100 megawatt. Check the available healthy units, the total number of generating units available in all generating stations. Say there are 10 generators that are available in all the generating stations. So we are numbering them as 1 to 10, that is G1, G2, like that. We are numbering all the generators that are available from G10. Okay. Now, so to find out an unit commitment problem, we use a recursive mathematical function. That part we are not discussing as it is not a part of the syllabus. So solving a unit commitment problem, also we will have one recursive algorithm where we employ that recursive algorithm and find out the commitment status. Okay, so that recursive function or the algorithm that we use to find out to solve the unit commitment problem, again it is also based on the minimum fuel cost only. Okay, so commitment status based on minimum fuel cost. Okay, so after solving the unit commitment problem, you will know the commitment status of all the 10 available generators. Suppose U is equals to 1, that means the unit will run, unit is on. So U is equals to 0 means that unit is off. So for example, let us say to meet this 100 megawatt load, the commitment status is like that. That is U1 is 1, U3 is 1, U9 is 1, and remaining all units, it is 0. U2 is 0, U4 is 0, U5 is 0, U6 is 0, U7 is 0, and U10 is 0. That means out of 10 generators, only the 3 generators are committed to generate the required power. So 100 megawatt has to be generated by 3 generating units, that is generator 1, generator 3, and generator 9. That is the commitment problem. This commitment problem will give you the solution of this one. The next is distributing the total 100 megawatt load among the committed generators 1 to 9 such that the total fuel cost is minimized. It is the economic load dispatch. It is the economic dispatch problem. Okay. So that is the problem. So optimal load scheduling or economic load dispatch problem has two sub problems. The first one is unit commitment problem, where we find out out of all available healthy generators, we find out the commitment status, whether this generator will run or will not run. And among all the committed generators, how we share the load is the economic load dispatch problem. So these steps we have seen. Now, note, the generator operating costs include fuel cost, labor cost, maintenance cost, and other miscellaneous costs. So the total generation costs, the total generating cost include what? Fuel cost, cost of the fuel. So fuel cost is only applicable for which type of plants? For nuclear and thermal plants. That means thermal generating plants where we use coal as the fuel, and nuclear generating plants we use the radioactive material as the generation. There are no fuel costs in hydel generating stations, wind, solar, etc., because the fuel cost is zero. So in our economic load dispatch problem, what we are considering, we are not considering the labor costs, maintenance cost, and other miscellaneous cost. We are only considering that the fuel cost is the variable quantity. So for the sake of simplicity, we won't, because the major cost is the fuel cost. So for easy analysis, we are assuming that only fuel cost is the variable in this economic load dispatch problem. And we are also considering only. So in economic load dispatch problem, the generating stations that we consider are the thermal generating stations. Okay. So the fuel cost equation of a thermal power plant. So it is an empirical formula obtained on experimental basis. So whatever the formula that we are telling is an empirical formula that is obtained on the experimental basis. There is no mathematical derivation for this formula. So the fuel cost of the ith unit, generating unit is given by half into AI into Pi square, where Pi is the generation of the ith unit, Bi into Pi plus Ci, so many rupees per hour. So this is the fuel cost of the ith generating unit, where AI, Bi, and Ci are the cost coefficients of the ith unit, and where Pi is the power output of the ith generator in megawatt. So Fi is the fuel cost of ith unit in rupees per hour to supply Pi megawatt. That means the cost that we will incur for generating Pi megawatt for 1 hour is given by, this is Fi. Fi is the unit is rupees per hour. one important point is that if the coefficients of the thermal plants are same, then the solution for economic load dispatch problem is equal distribution of power among the all units. Let us say the fuel cost of the first unit is, for just this one I'm telling you, it is 0.04 P1 square plus 0.5 P1 plus 24. So many rupees per hour. This is the fuel cost of generator 1. Let us assume the fuel cost of generator 2 is fuel cost of, just a minute. Generator 2 is, let us say again, we'll write 0.04 P2 square plus 0.5 P2 plus 24. Say plus 24. So in this case, what will happen? So in this case, what will happen? Since the coefficients are same for both, then the whatever the load is there, that will be equally shared among the two generating units. That means if the coefficients of all thermal plants are same, then the solution of economic load dispatch problem is equal distribution of power among the units. Obviously, it will be equally distributed. Okay. In practice, the fuel cost coefficients are different for different units. Why? Because location of the thermal plant, because it is based on the following factors: location of thermal plant, distance between the coal mine and the location of the plant, mode of transportation of coal, quality of coal, and efficiency of the generating unit. So why the cost coefficients for different units are different? Why? Because the cost coefficients are governed by the location of thermal plant, distance between the plant and the coal mine, mode of transportation, whether proper transportation facilities available or not, quality of the coal, and efficiency of the generating unit. Suppose if we are comparing the cost coefficients of two generators that are present in the same generating station. Okay, a generating station may contain more than one generators. If you are comparing the cost coefficients of two generators that are installed adjacent to each other, in that case also the cost coefficients will be different, because the efficiency of the unit, the heat rate curves of the unit can be different. Understand? So these are the reasons why the different units will have different cost coefficients. Next, the next one is the fuel cost curve. What is this one? Fuel cost curve. So here it is, every generator will have some, this minimum generation that is called P minimum. The maximum generator that it can generate, that is P max. Okay, that means every generator has, it cannot start generating from zero. No, when you start a generator, it will generate certain minimum amount of power, that is called a P minimum. That is called P minimum. This is based on the flame instability. Once you develop a flame, once you inject the fuel into the once you inject the minimum fuel into the turbine, then it will start generating certain amount of power. So every generator cannot start generating from zero. It will start generating with a minimum power, that is P minimum, and every generator will have a maximum capacity till which it can generate, it is P max. Okay, so P minimum is fixed by thermodynamic constraints of the generator and turbine combination. P max is fixed by the rating of the synchronous machine. Suppose if there is a 100 MVA generator, it can at max generate 100 megawatt or 5% more than the 105 megawatt. Beyond that, it is not having the capacity to generate the power. So fuel cost curve, it is a curve between the cost per hour versus the power output. It is a curve between It is a curve between cost per hour, fuel cost per hour versus power output of machine, power output of generator in megawatt. Understand? So it is the curve between the fuel cost per hour versus power output of the generator in megawatt. Okay, this would be this one. So if you draw the curve for Fi of AI Pi square plus Bi Pi plus Ci, so many rupees per hour. So this is the curve versus Fi on the y-axis versus Pi on the x-axis. Next, incremental cost of the generating unit. So incremental cost of the thermal generating unit. So that is denoted by IC, ith unit, because we are considering, that's why we have written incremental cost of the ith unit, ICI. So it is the slope of fuel cost curve. Incremental cost curve is nothing but the slope of the fuel cost curve. So if you differentiate the fuel cost curve with respect to Pi, so incremental cost curve is obtained by dFi by dPi. Because we are doing for the ith unit, this is this one. So if you differentiate, what you are going to get? So half into 2 into AI into Pi plus Bi. Ci is 0. So many rupees. Rupees per hour was the unit. Now, since you are differentiating with this one, rupees per megawatt hour. This is the unit for the incremental cost of the ith generating unit. So it is a straight line equation which is of the form y is equals to mx plus c, which is a straight line equation. Understand? So incremental cost curve is a curve between the incremental cost versus the power output of the generator in megawatt. It is the curve between the incremental cost versus the power output of the generator in megawatt. Actually, we are considering it as a straight line, but actual value will be, if you do the if you go by any exact numerical method, then this will be slightly having curvature. It is not exact straight line. So it is the actual incremental cost curve is a dark line. Our approximation, linear approximation, is a dotted straight line. But however, we consider only between the megawatt minimum generation of the ith unit and the maximum generation of the ith unit. So we only consider this line segment. Okay. So incremental cost is the slope of the fuel cost curve. So we approximate it as a straight line. Unit is rupees per megawatt hour. Okay. So here the only two things which you have to remember is that what is the fuel cost equation and what is the incremental cost equation. Those things which you have to remember. So let us take a simple example, numerical example. So what is the question? If you can read, the fuel cost of a 100 megawatt thermal generating unit is given, that is 0.1 P square plus 20 P plus 100 rupees per hour. Calculate the fuel cost per day and incremental fuel cost if unit is loaded to its capacity. So loaded to its capacity means he's telling it is fully loaded. So when fully loaded, the power output of the unit is 100 megawatt. So now fuel cost per hour is how much? Because it is fully loaded, 0.1 into P is 100 square, 100 megawatt square into 20 into 100 plus 100. So many rupees per hour. So fuel cost per day will become how much? Fuel cost per day will become the same value multiplied by 24 hours. So many rupees, 74,400. Again, what he asked to calculate the incremental fuel cost. Incremental fuel cost is incremental fuel cost is dF by dP. If you do that, you're going to get 0.2p plus 20. So incremental fuel cost for this loading will be how much? 0.2 into 100 plus 20. So this will become 40 rupees per megawatt. 40 rupees per megawatt. So what is the meaning of this incremental cost? So again, if you want to generate one more megawatt hour more, the cost will be 40 rupees more. 40. Now, the optimization problem modeling. So we want to optimize what? We want to optimize the fuel cost of the committed generators. So objective is that we want to either go for maximization or minimization. Optimization means either you are trying to find out maxima or minima. In our case, we are trying to minimize the fuel cost. So when you are minimizing a function, there will be certain equality constraints and inequality constraints, which the minimization function should satisfy, or the variables which variables in the minimization function should satisfy. So solution vector of the minimization problem can be of 3 types. So if the solution vector satisfies all the constraints, so whatever the solution which you are obtaining, if it satisfies all the constraints of the optimization problem, then it is called a valid solution vector. If the solution vector is not satisfying at least one of the constraints, one of the equality or inequality constraints, then it is called invalid solution vector. Global or final solution vector is a solution vector which gives minimum possible value for minimization and maximum possible value for maximization. So very rarely you will encounter such a solution that the same solution vector will give minimization for the minimum possible value for minimization and maximum possible value for the maximization problem. Such solutions are very rare. So for any function, for any optimization function, you will have whether a valid solution vector, invalid solution vector, or a global solution vector. Okay. So here, what is our optimization problem? We are trying to optimize the the total fuel cost of all the committed generating units. We are trying to minimize the total fuel cost of all the committed generating units. So let us assume there are n committed generators. How many generators we are assuming? We are assuming that there are n committed units. So first point is let n generating units are committed to meet a load of say PD. Total load demand on the system is PD. Now the total fuel cost will become how much? The total fuel cost is let us say the total fuel cost FT is fuel cost of first generator, fuel cost of second generator, likewise the fuel cost of the nth generator, because all the n generators are committed. So this is our function. So the total fuel cost is sum of the all the fuel costs of n generating units. Okay. Now, what is our function? We have to minimize the total fuel cost Ft, that is equals to sigma I is equals to 1 to n Fi. Okay. So what are our constraints? Our constraints are such that constraints. So first is the equality constraint is how much? Equality constraint. So equality constraint is PD plus PL. The total load demand plus total losses in the transmission line should be equal to summation of I is equals to 1 to n Pi, where I is the this one is the generation of the ith unit. The total generation should be equal to total load demand plus total losses in the system. This is the equality constraint. There is only one equality constraint. Equality constraint, that is only one equality constraints. The other set of constraints are inequality constraints. Inequality constraints are such that, see, Pi should be less than or equal to Pi max, should be less than or equal to Pi min, where I is equals to 1 to n. So every generator has a certain minimum generation which it can generate and certain maximum generation that it can generate. So all the generations should be within the limits. So the generation of the first unit should be within its between its lower limit and upper limit. Likewise, the generation of the second unit should be within its limit. So likewise, these are the n inequality constraints, which our solution vector should satisfy, So the problem is, we have to minimize the total fuel cost of the committed generator subjected to one equality constraints and n inequality constraints. Understand? So the first case what we consider is that transmission losses we neglect. We don't consider the transmission losses. That means they are not included as well as not coordinated. That means your transmission losses, you are making it 0. Then your optimization function will become, the equality constraints will become, your PD should be equal to sigma k is equals to 1 to n Pi. So there is change in the equality constraints when you make this assumption. So now your function will become, to solve the optimization problem, we use a method of called Lagrangian multiplier method. We use Lagrangian method, which is introduced by a mathematician called Kuhn-Tucker. So this is not in your engineering mathematics syllabus in undergraduate studies. So mostly in postgraduate studies you will get it. So let us not worry much about how this is developed and all that. So these optimization problems are solved by a Lagrangian method or Lagrangian multiplier method, they call it as. First you develop a Lagrangian function. So in this case, the Lagrangian function will become L is equals to a total fuel cost plus lambda into the equality constraints, that is PD minus sigma k is equals to 1 to n Actually, I is equals to 1 to n. You have written pi, no? I is equals to 1 to n pi, where lambda is called a Lagrangian multiplier. Where lambda is called a Lagrangian multiplier. Lagrangian multiplier or Lagrangian constant. So this is the Lagrangian function L. So we have to minimize L. That is, we have to minimize L. That is FT, total fuel cost, plus lambda into PD minus sigma is equals to 1 to n pi, subjected to, because we have already included the equality constraint in the function itself, so we have to write subjected to pi less than or equal to pi max less than or equal to pi min for I is equals to 1, 2, 3 dash 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 n. pi minimum less than or equal to pi less than or equal to pi max, subjected to this one. So this is our optimization problem, optimization function. Okay. So far, any doubts, gentlemen? So any doubts so far?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Right. Now, to solve this, what do we do is, for any, we are minimizing the function. So for minimizing, what is this one? For a minima, the condition is dl by dp should be equal to 0. The first derivative of the function should be equal to 0. Understand? So here dl by dp, how we can write the dl by dp will become, sorry, we should write, actually there are multiple variables, no? Just a minute. dl by dpi should be equal to 0 for all I is equals to 1, 2, 3 dash 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 n. Okay. So if you do dl by dpi, what you are going to get? This will become, which implies dl by dpi is equals to dft, the total fuel cost, by dpi plus lambda into the PD is a constant, the load demand, which is a constant, which is not a function of this one. So 0 minus the other function is summation of I is equals to 1 to n, this pi, that is p1 plus p2 plus dash 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 pi. So all are constants except for pi. So if you differentiate pi with respect to pi, you are going to get 1. This should be equal to 0. This should be equal to 0. So out of this FT, total fuel cost, which is a sum of fuel cost of generator 1, generator 2, generator 3, likewise. So all are the functions of their individual powers. So here it is a dpi, we can directly write this one as dl by dpi will become dfi by dpi plus lambda into 0 minus 1. So why? Because here ft is equals to f1 plus f2 plus dash 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 fi plus dash 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 fn. So f1 is a function of p1, it is only a function of p1. f2 is a function of only p2. Likewise, fi is the only function of pa. So when you differentiate with pi, all these values will become 0. except for this one. So that's why I'm writing dft by dpi as dfi by dpi, and this is equals to this one. So the condition for so what is dfi by dpi? Dfi by dpi is nothing but the incremental cost of the ith generating unit. Lambda is the Lagrangian multiplier or Lagrangian constant. So the condition for minimization of total fuel cost is incremental cost of ith unit. Incremental cost of ith unit is equals to lambda. Incremental cost of ith unit is equals to lambda, which implies lambda is equals to incremental cost of first unit, incremental cost of second unit, likewise incremental cost of ith unit, that is equals to incremental cost of the nth unit. So the condition for optimization is that the incremental costs of all the n generating unit must be same. This is the condition for the minimization of the total fuel cost, where what is our first assumption? We are assuming that the total transmission losses are neglected. Transmission losses are that is lambda is equals to IC incremental cost of first unit equal to incremental cost of second unit. Likewise, incremental cost of ith unit, that is equals to incremental cost of nth unit, is called coordination equation or condition for minimum fuel cost. Condition for minimum fuel cost. Let us try to solve this problem. The incremental cost characteristics of two generators delivering 200 megawatt are as follows. They have given the incremental costs. The generation and P1, P2 should be how much? That is the condition for economic operation. What should be their generators? Now, what is the condition for optimization? Incremental costs should be same. Incremental cost of the first generator should be equal to incremental cost of second generator. Okay, here only two generators are there. So we have to find out the P1 and P2 such that this condition is satisfied. So the first condition we are going to get is 20 plus 0.1 P1 is equal to 16 plus 0.2 P2. This is one relationship. So two variables are there, we cannot solve. We need one more relationship. What is the other relationship? The total load demand, PD, is equals to what? P1 plus P2, because only two generators are there. That is equals to P1 plus P2 should be equal to 200 megawatts. So from this equation and this equation, you can find out P1 and P2 values. So if you simplify, what you are going to get? 0.1 P1 minus 0.2 P2 is equals to minus 4. P1 plus P2 is equals to 200. So if you solve the second equation, so you keep on substituting in the first equation, whichever satisfies, that is your solution. So this is the problem where D is the right option. P1 is 120 megawatt, P2 is 80 megawatt. Okay. So when the transmission losses are not considered or not given, this is the approach. You try to solve this problem and tell the answer. So it's a very simple question. So the fuel cost curve, here instead of F, he is using the notation C. So the first fuel cost curve will be how much? So dC1 by dPg1 is, if you do this, you are
Equal
going to
to
get
0.
0.011, sorry, 0.11. Please unmute yourself. Please mute yourself. Pg1 plus 1.
So that I got, sir. I differentiated both equations, sir. After
dC2 by
that,
dPg. Going to get 0.06 Pg2 plus 3. Okay, these are the
yeah,
two equations. And what is the total load demand? 250 megawatt. So you're going to get Pg1 plus Pg2 is equals to 250 megawatt. Now, how to bring this into single equation? The incremental cost should be same, that is, which implies dC1 by dPg1 should be equal to dC2 by dPg2. Please mute yourself. So you're going to get what? 0.11 Pg1 minus 0.06 Pg2 is equals to 2, and the second relationship is Pg1 plus Pg2 is equals to 250. So if you solve these two equations, you are going to get this answer. Okay, so if you substitute, or either you can do the calculations, you will get the answer. So the answer is Pg1 is 100 megawatt, Pg2 is, just a minute, Pg2 is 150 megawatt. So this is the right option. And let us try to solve this question. Okay, so try to, in a power system, the fuel input per hour of plant 1 and plant 2 are given. So in a power system, the fuel input for plant 1 and plant 2 are given. So these fuel cost curves in unit rupees per hour are given. The limits of the generators are also given. Find the economic operating schedule of the generator if the load demand is 130 megawatt, neglecting transmission losses. So with whatever data we have been given, we have the total load demand PD, that is equals to P1 plus P2, because only two generating units are there, that is equals to 130 megawatt. 130 megawatt. PD is equals to P1 plus P2 is equals to 130 megawatt. Understand? So F1, fuel cost of the first one is given. So dF1 by dP1, the incremental fuel cost of the first generator will become how much? Here actually there is one print mistake. It is not P1 square, it is P1 square. Okay. So if you do this one, what you are going to get? dF1 by dP1 is nothing but 0.4 P1 plus 30, and likewise dF2 by dP2 will become how much? That is equals to 0.5 P2 plus 40 plus 40. These are the incremental costs. So what is the condition for minimization of the fuel cost? The incremental fuel costs of all the generating units must be same. So based on that, what is the condition is dF1 by dP1 should be equal to dF2 by dP2. So which implies 0.4 P1 minus 0.5 P2 is equals to 10. If you equate these two, we are going to get this relationship. Let us call this 1. The second relationships which we are having is P1 plus P2 should be equal to 130. So if you solve these two equations, we are going to get what? Solving equation 1 and equation 2, what you're going to get? Going to get P1 is equals to 83.33 megawatt and P2 is equals to 46.66 megawatts. Okay, but here we have to check whether our generations which we have obtained for unit 1 and unit 2 are within the limits of the generator or not. Here they mentioned that the generating limits of the generator P1 are between 20 to 80 megawatt, for it is second one it is between 40 to 200 megawatt. But what is happening here, the generator 1 is violating its upper limit. Generator 1 is violating its upper limit. In that case what we have to do, since unit 1 is violating its upper limit of generation, fix its value to upper limit. So suppose it has violated the lower limit. In that case, what we will do, we will fix its generation to lower limit and we distribute the remaining load across the remaining units. So in that case, we have to fix this to 80 megawatt. And what is the remaining load? 50 megawatt. Among the remaining generators, we have to optimally distribute, but here only one generator is there. So we are fixing its output as 50 megawatt. So your correct option is 80 megawatt and 50 megawatt. Understand? So the very, very important point what you have to learn is whenever the generation obtained after solving the equal incremental cost condition, if it violates the upper limit or lower limit of the any generating unit, in that case, you fix its generation to the limit it is violating. You fix the generation to the limit it is violating, and the remaining load distribute among remaining generating units based on equal incremental cost condition. So see, what is the total load demand? 130.
Yes.
So we are fixing the generation of generator 1 to 80 megawatt.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay.
So what will be the generation of the P2, the remaining generator? It is 50 megawatt.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Understand?
Yes.
So because the optimization problem gave this solution, but after getting this one, whether it is within limits is there, no issue. But if any of the generation is violating its limit, lower limit or upper limit, then fix the generation of that unit to the limit it is violating, and the remaining load you share among the remaining units, again based on equal incremental cost condition. Okay, that is the this function. Yeah, you can solve this one. You can solve this question. So here he gave the two generators and their limits, the total load demand also given. Neglecting losses, determine the optimal generation. Very simple question again. So here PG1 plus PG2, the total load demand is how much? 600 megawatt. That is one equation. Incremental cost DC1 by DPG1 of first generator is 0.012 PG1 plus 8. Likewise, DC2 by DPG2 is incremental cost of second generator is 0.012 PG2 plus 7 So you have to solve both these equations. That is, the condition is incremental cost should be same. So if you equate DC1 by dPg1 equal to DC2 by dPg2, we are going to get 0.012 Pg1 minus 0.012 Pg2 is equals to -1 is equals to -1, that is equals to, the other one is Pg1. So solving this 1 and this 2, we are going to get, so the Pg1 is, tell me what is Pg1?
258.33.
258.33 megawatt, and Pg2 is
341.66.
341.66 megawatt. Now check whether they are within limits or not. They are within limits, so no issue. They are within the limits, so there is no problem. Okay. So try to solve this question. Try to understand this question first. The incremental cost curve, the incremental cost curves of in rupees per megawatt of two generators supplying a common load of 700 megawatt is shown. He did not give the equation or the cost curve. He directly gave the curves, incremental cost curves. The maximum and minimum generation limits are also they have indicated. Let us call this is generator 1. Incremental cost of generator 1 and incremental cost of generator 2. Incremental cost curves of generator G1, G2 they have given. So what is the optimum generation schedule? See here, the beauty of this question is the highest incremental cost of G1 is 600. There is no match. At no point these two generators will have equal incremental cost, because the highest incremental cost of generator 1 is 600 rupees per megawatt hour, whereas the minimum incremental cost of this one is 650 rupees per megawatt hour. So in that case, what we will do, which one is having minimum incremental cost? Generator G1. So we have to fully load the generator G1. We have to fully load the generator G1. Understand? So if you fully load generator G1, what will be its generate? There is no chance, no possibility of equal incremental cost. Here there is no possibility of equal incremental cost for generator 1 and 2. Why? Because these two straight lines will never intersect. One is ending at 600, the other one is beginning at 650. Understand? So obviously to obtain minimum fuel cost, what we'll do? The generator with lesser incremental cost is loaded more. Generator which is having lesser incremental cost will be loaded more, and generator with higher incremental cost is loaded less. That is a philosophy. That is the philosophy. Now, what is the total load? The total load is 700 megawatt. The one thing you have to remember is that we should satisfy the minimum loading of both the generators. Otherwise, they cannot run in parallel. So, the minimum load on generator 2 is 150 megawatt. 150 megawatt. How you should proceed to this problem? First, you Pg2 minimum is how much? 150 megawatt. So you must load generator 2 with a minimum load of 150 megawatt. Then only it will run. Otherwise, it will not run. So if you load 150 megawatt to generator 2, what is the total remaining load? 450 megawatt. So Pg1 PG1, if we give the 450 megawatt, will be able to take it. Yeah, its maximum capacity is 450. Will be able to take it. So in this case, this is how we have to load it. Since our load demand is 600 megawatt, this is the economic load scheduling. We are providing a minimum load to generator G2 because it has to run, and remaining what all load is there, we are fixing it to the PG1. Okay. Had the load been 650 megawatt, then how you will share it? First, we will load the PG2 with its minimum, that is 150 megawatt, and remaining load will try to fix it to the PG1. But however, PG1 can take how much? Only 450 megawatt. So we are completely loaded it. So for still 50 megawatt is to be loaded. This 50 megawatt will keep it to the generator 2. So for a load demand of this one, this is how we will solve the above problem. Suppose PD is say 575 megawatt. In this case, how you will do? In this case, you will be PG2, the minimum load we have to give 150 megawatt. So the remaining load we have to fix. One will be, in this case, it will be 425 megawatt. This is how you will load depending upon the load demand. Why? Because here there is no chance of equal incremental cost. Here there is no chance of equal incremental cost. In this case, the maximum load we will try to put on the generator that is having minimum incremental cost, and bare minimum load we will try to keep on the other generator. So, what is the minimum load demand for economic load dispatch on equal incremental cost basis? So, for example, there are two generators which are having the incremental cost curve as shown in the figure. So, this is the power output in megawatt, and this is the incremental cost of the generating unit. Now, the equal incremental cost is possible. In that case, what is the minimum load it can generate? So here the minimum generation limits of this one are, this unit is having a P minimum of this one. The maximum value is this one. So likewise, the other generator is having, the minimum value is same, the maximum value is also same. Let us take two generators which are having the following incremental cost. dF1 by dP1 of the first generating unit is 0.1 P1, say plus 20 rupees per megawatt hour. dF2 by dP2, let us say it is 0.12 P2 plus 16 rupees per megawatt hour. Okay, the minimum and maximum generating units of this one are 20 less than P1 comma P2 less than or equal to 125. So for both generator 1 and generator 2, the minimum generation is 20 megawatt, the maximum generation is, so this value is 20 megawatt, this value is 125 megawatt. Okay. So now to run these both generators in parallel, the minimum load demand that should be present, is how much? These are the incremental costs of the both units, and these are the P minimum and P maximum of the both generators. To run this two generators in parallel, there should be a minimum load demand of 40 megawatt, because then only both the generators can run on their minimum loads of 20 megawatt each, and they can operate. The maximum capacity that can be met by these two generators is how much? Pmax plus Pmax, that is 125 plus 125. 250 megawatt. 250 megawatt. So the minimum load demand which is necessary is 40 megawatt. The maximum load demand which they can both supply is 250 megawatt. Okay, but at these conditions, what is the thing? The equal incremental cost condition may not be satisfied. Suppose if you substitute 20 and 20 here, minimum 20, 20, what is the incremental cost here? 0.1 into 20 is 2, 2 plus 20, 22 rupees. And here it is 0.12 into 20 is how much? 2.4. 2.4 plus 16 is 18.4. So when they are supplying 2020, the incremental costs are not same. Similarly, when they are supplying 125 also, the incremental costs are not same. Understand? But however, they can meet a minimum demand of 40. If load demand is less than this value, then they cannot run both in parallel. If the load demand is beyond 250, then also they will not be able to meet that load demand. But now here what I am trying to find out, I am trying to find out a certain minimum load on both the generators put together such that they operate on equal incremental cost basis. Finding out that minimum demand for economic load dispatch based on the equal incremental cost basis. If they ask this, what should be the minimum demand where both of them can operate on equal incremental cost condition? For finding out that, first you calculate the incremental cost of each generator corresponding to its minimum generation. So for both generators, PG minimum value is how much? 20 megawatt. So for 20 megawatt, what is the incremental cost? Incremental cost of generator 1 for 20 megawatt is how much? So this value will become 0.1 into 20 plus 20, that is 22 rupees per megawatt. So likewise, if you calculate the incremental cost for generator 2, this value will be how much? 0.12 into 20 plus 16, it is 18.4. 18.4, it will get 2.4, yeah, 18.4 rupees per megawatt. Okay, calculate incremental cost of each generator corresponding to its PG minimum, because for both it is 20, we have calculated. Determine the maximum incremental cost of both generators. So out of all incremental cost, find out the maximum value of incremental cost 1, incremental cost 2, had there been more incremental cost n. So the maximum incremental cost in this case is 22 rupees. 22 rupees per megawatt hour. Okay. Now, corresponding to this maximum incremental cost, determine the generators. That is, equating the incremental cost to 22, find out the generations. So, for an incremental cost of 22, PG1 will be how much? You have to equate such that 0.2 into P1, 0.2 into P1 plus 20 is equals to 22. If you solve this, you are going to get P1 is equals to, it is 0.1, I'm sorry, 0.1. So you're going to get 20 megawatt. So likewise, P2 will be how much? 0.12 into P2 plus 16 equal to 22, which implies your P2 is equals to 6 divided by 0.1. 6 divided by 0.1. How much is this value? 50 megawatt. So the minimum load demand on should be such that when add all the generations of generators obtained, it is 20 megawatt plus 50 megawatt, it is 70 megawatt. So when there is a minimum load demand of 70 megawatt, then both the generators can operate on equal incremental cost basis of 70 megawatt. Here you can see for this it is 20, for this one this is the 50 megawatt. 50 megawatt. So since at this point the equal two incremental costs are same, so here we have wrongly written this is generator G2 should have a demand of 50 megawatt. Generator G1 is having a demand of 20 megawatt. Understand? So this is how we have to find out the equal minimum load demand for economic load dispatch based on equal incremental cost basis. Have you understood or any doubt? Demand for economic load dispatch on equal incremental cost basis. If directly they ask maximum demand, you add the maximum generation capacities of the two generators. But at that condition, they may not have the equal incremental costs. But if the question comes such that find out the maximum demand on the two generators put together where they can share the load on equal incremental cost basis, to finding out that this is the steps we have to follow. Just opposite to what we have done. Calculate the incremental cost of each generator corresponding to its PG max, PG max. Again, we take the same equations for both generators. Your PG max, the maximum generation is 125 megawatt. So corresponding incremental costs are so incremental cost of generator 1 is 0.1 into 125 plus 20, it is 32.5 rupees per megawatt hour. The incremental cost for generator 2 is 0.12 into 125 plus 16. So this value is how much? 31 rupees per megawatt. So here you can see when you fully load them, the incremental costs are not equal. Okay. Now determine the minimum incremental cost of all generators. That means you have to find out the minimum incremental costs of all the generators. Here we only two are there. If there are n generators, you have to take all the incremental costs corresponding to maximum demand and find out the minimum. So the minimum value here is 31 rupees per megawatt hour. So corresponding to this minimum incremental cost, calculate the generations. So generations corresponding to incremental cost, that is 31 rupees per megawatt. What you are going to get? 0.1 into P1 plus 20 equals to 31, which implies P1 is equals to 11 divided by 0.1, 110 megawatt. Similarly, 0.12 into P2 plus 16 equal to 31, which implies your P2 will become 15 divided by 0.12. How much is this value? 125 megawatts. So your PD max is 110 plus 125, that is 235 megawatts. So till 235 megawatts of load, we can share the load among the two generators on equal incremental cost basis. Understand? So here the maximum incremental cost, here if you see this value, you are going to get is 125, and this corresponding generation is 110 megawatts. 110 megawatts. So like this, you can find out the maximum and minimum demand for incremental cost basis. So if the load demand is between 70 megawatt to 235 megawatt, we can share the load on equal incremental cost basis. This is one more important point. Understand? So whenever such problems come, you have to deal in this way. Okay. So we have seen three different scenarios. When the incremental costs match, what we have to do, when they don't match, what we have to do, and when they ask the bare minimum load that is required and the maximum load which they can meet, how we have to compute. And then when they ask the minimum load for equal incremental cost basis and the maximum load for equal incremental cost basis, what we have to do, we have learned. Okay. So the next article is